Hey, welcome to the Philosophical Wednesday. Last time we talked about the paradoxes, and the previous session we talked about the imagination and why the imagination is important. Because to make something happen or create the architecture, we need to imagine it in our life or in our head, right? Today we'll talk about the mathematics because a lot of people say that mathematics is only one real thing because all the rest of the stuff it's somehow unreliable and so on. But mathematics, you have the proof for everything and you have the logical chains and all the things. But the truth about the mathematics that we just imagine and we just invented. So it's in our imagination from the beginning to the end because you couldn't touch a lot of mathematical concepts. You yeah you have the natural feeling of the numbers and they important for the evolution and even the infants they able to count and all other things even if they don't have the figure but they understand the difference between one two and many and so on. So the the counting and arithmetics in some basics it's important for the survival, but rest of the things it's much harder to touch. Yeah, you could touch the geometry figures and all of thing, but uh, the tensors, the gradients, and all of the things that we use in artificial intelligence, for example, it's not so easy to touch, right? So we just imagine everything, and mathematics have a lot of common things with the software engineering. Yeah, for sure. We could say that every programming language actually is the formal system, and formal systems are the subdivision of the logic, and logic is the part of the mathematics, and then practically everything that we do is just a pure mathematics in some extent. Yeah. But we have the opposite movement that we faced with some processes or the challenges or the paradoxes like the Russell paradox that we talked last time. And we try to create the mathematical model and mathematical theory that actually describe this phenomena. And it's how we start mapping back from the reality to the imagination. Right, and it's the same that we have the concept of the graphs, and we try to describe the graphs in a graph theory, in a set theory. Somebody tries to map the graph theory and dependent type theory and so on. But uh, we invent the mathematics to describe the real world, but we practically imagine everything, the concept of the zero, the numbers, the counting, and the vectors, and practically everything that we have in mathematics is quite hard, as I said, to touch with our hands, but they help us to describe the real world things. And when we faced with the paradoxes, or when we faced with the new challenges, we just invent the new mathematical theories that describe this phenomena. And if it goes to the machine learning and artificial intelligence, it's just applied statistics. It's applied statistics, it's the tensors, it's the tensor analysis, matrices, gradients, and all of the things that actually exist in mathematics for the ages. Also, when we will start talking about the graphs, maybe the graph theory, and we will start talking about the knowledge representation. We just go to the logics, we go to the formal logic, the higher order logic, the rules and all things, and he tries to bake some logical concepts, and it's yet another branch of the mathematics that gets more and more important for the artificial intelligence because we want to bring the reasoning to the game. So that's it. But we could not say that it's real. It's probably we made it because we was able to talk about the abstractions, abstract things. And when we talk about category theory, type theory, and logic, they quite close actually to more philosophy and philosophical domains that learn the logic and ontologies in a wider space, and where these two sciences heavily overlap. That's why if you want to be successful, you need to be a bit of the mathematician, a bit of the logician, a bit of the philosopher, and glue all these things together. So I really recommend you to read something about the logics and all other things. So see you next time. Choose.